welcome to another Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday, where I am rolling some dice with Marvel Dice Throne. Yes, I've covered quite a bit of Marvel Dice Throne today, and I still have more to do. So I'm going to tell you about Black Widow versus Doctor Strange. If you want to know a little bit more about Dice Throne, check out the link in my description where I talk about Marvel Dice Throne, which is basically the kickoff to taking Dice Throne to the Marvel Universe. However, in that video, I also talk a little bit about Dice Throne in general, which started off with Season 1, then went to Season 2, then got re-rolled for Season 1, and then got re-rolled for Season 2, and now is Marvel Dice Throne. So what is Dice Throne? Dice Throne is a Yahtzee-like game where you're rolling dice, pressing luck, trying to roll straights, trying to roll combinations of dice. There are both numbers and symbols on the dice that come in different assortments or allotments. And it's basically rolling that dice and trying to do damage or prevent damage to yourself in a combat situation, either going head-to-head or in team play. And you are playing with, in this case, Marvel superhero characters. Now, this is self-contained. You do not need Marvel Dice Throne to play this. You can buy this, and it has the rules, and it has everything you need to play if all you want to play is Black Widow versus Doctor Strange. If you want to play some of those other characters, well, guess what? You need to get those other characters. So, what comes in this box? Well, this is what comes in this box. This is everything you get for Black Widow. This is everything you get for Doctor Strange. And it is nicely packaged in its own self-contained container. And you'll see that in a second here. But if you like rolling dice and mitigating it, there's also card play in this game. You're buying cards to help you mitigate or get re-rolls or change dice rolls or actually upgrade your special abilities so that you get different combinations and different effects from rolling those combinations. All that is in this game. So it's not just Yahtzee, it's Yahtzee on steroids. So let's get inside the box so you can see what you get in this box. And this was one that I was really interested in because I kind of like Doctor Strange. I don't dislike Black Widow, but I really do kind of like Doctor Strange, and I'm interested to see what kind of special abilities he has, because that is something that is unique, well, not unique to this game, but something that is core to this game is everybody's special. Everybody's unique. All her different special abilities and stuff are different than his. Now, there might be some similarities in some of the combinations that you might see over time, but generally they try to make these thematic. They try to take what their own special abilities are and then represent those in the cards and the token and in their special abilities on their board. But we'll take a quick look at that. I get my silica for the day. Here are the rules. And so you have everything you need to play. You've got all the components, and you have the rules in each one of these boxes. So if you just want to try this out, then I suggest you look at some of these standalone 1-versus-1 sets, and then see what you think about it before you go all in like I have been doing. Here are the rules here. As you see, here's your player board, and you're going to have a sideboard that's going to talk to you about what your special tokens are that you get from card play and from your special abilities that you're trying to roll. But these are basically what you're trying to roll. This is like your Yahtzee sheet, right? This is your small straight, large straight. Here's this combination you roll here. Every superhero or character has a special ability, has an ultimate ability. This is a 1 in 6 chance to roll that symbol. So if you roll all 5 of those, and you get usually 3 rolls to roll on your turn. And then if you get this is going to do a lot. So like this does like 12 damage or something like that. Let's see, how much is that? It's hard to read there. 11 damage. So that's a lot of damage because you're going to start out, I think in most games you start at 50, and then you go down to 0. When you get your opponent down to 0, they lose. If they get you down to 0, you lose. All right. So the name of this game is doing damage and preventing damage. Everybody has, or most people have a damage section or defense section where you roll this. If the type of attack is defendable, there is certain undefendable damage. But if it's defendable, you get to roll here. So he gets to roll 3 dice, and then he gets whatever that ability is. Sometimes it's defense or heal or prevents the damage. Sometimes it's a counterattack. And so if you're a really offensive character, you might get that. I think there's at least 1 or 2 characters that don't even get this. Anyway, so some characters have static abilities, meaning that they just get something every turn. Looks like he might have a static ability here, which is not something he has to roll. It's something he just gets every turn. A lot of times it's like getting one of these tokens here, right? And then you also have cards, you have your dice, and then you have your combat point wheel. This is where you keep track of combat points. You start off with so many, you get 1 a turn. You can discard a card to get 1. Plus, there might be other ways to get it during the turn, but then, during the game. But then that's how you pay for your cards. You subtract that number, go down to 0, and then you can buy a 2-point card out of there. And I'll show you the cards when we get to that. So there's all the rules there. And again, it's full color and explains, here's all the different types of damage. There's that undefendable damage I was telling you about. But yeah, it's really not that complex. I might do a playthrough or something at some point to go over a little more detail. Here are your punch outs that you get with the game. These I don't think you really need. I think this is more for, there's like a Dice Throne Adventures, I believe. I don't have that, but that's like a, that's something where you can take all your Dice Throne characters and then play against an AI. And so, and it mainly has like some bosses and stuff like that. So I think those are standees are for that. I think that's something they've been doing since they released Dice Throne Adventures. So I'll punch some of these tokens that go with the corresponding character, put that in this container, and then I'm good to go. Every time I play this now, I'll have everything I need. And it's all comes self-contained here in this nice little package that has the character's player board. So here's Black Widow's player board. There's her ultimate ability. So she's got to roll 5 of those. Widow's Bite. And then here's each of her different combos that she can roll. Here's a small straight. Here's a large straight because there's also numbers on the dice. I'll show you that. And then here's her defensive roll. So that's the player board that you start out with. And then you have the sideboard here, which is going to tell you her dice allotment. So you can see there's both numbers and symbols on the dice. She gets 2 espionage, 3 batons, and 1 widow. And then she gets covert ops, agility, and time bomb. Those are her tokens. And then they have all different abilities, which is different than anybody else. Here's a little bit about how to use those different abilities or different tokens. And then here's her backstory and complexity. So she's a 4. So out of 6. So relatively complex, okay? I mean, she's not the super easy stuff to do. She gets her own unique set of dice here, as you can see. It's kind of nice. Everybody has their own set of dice. She gets her own combat points. This is, again, how you keep track of the resources to buy the cards. And she has her own health dial. And it has all unique art on it and thick pre-assembled components. Then she has her own deck of cards here that, as I said, you have to buy these with the combat points, and they also do various things. Some of them are dice mitigation. You do re-rolls or change values. Some of these just give you tokens, and there's the cost and combat points right there. And some of these are upgrades, right? Like here's her upgrade to her defensive roll. So it makes it better than what she starts with on her starting board. Grapple 2, Vengeance 2, Hacked 2, Widow's Gauntlets 2. So she gets different abilities that over the course of the game, like if you're towards the end of the game, do you really want to buy one of these because, you're not going to be able to use it very much. But early in the game, you want to get one of these because you're going to have that special ability that you can make choices from. It gives you more choices to do better stuff. And then here's all the different decks of cards in here, different cards in here that do, like this draws 3. So, draws 2. This gives you more cards, gives you more tokens, and the like. And then you have a little timing thing here because the tokens and cards, there might be some timing issues. So it explains that. And then there is a turn order. It's really not that complicated a game. It's a lot of dice rolling. And if you ever played a dice rolling game, it's relatively intuitive. The learning curve is right here. It's these different abilities, these different tokens, and they're different boards because this is where your choices are on this board here. So that's Black Widow. I need to punch out her tokens and then put them in here, and then she is good to go. And all I need to do now to play her is just grab this out, and I can play it against any one of the other Dice Throne characters, and these are all backward compatible, right? The rules are generally the same. It's just the characters are different. Here's Doctor Strange's board, and he's got some static or passive abilities that he gets like every turn. These are his different combos. His ultimate is All-Seeing Eye. He's got a large and small and large straight right here. Then he's got this binding here, Wand of Watum, and then he's got this Coca Levitation. He only rolls 2 dice on defense. So that's his player board. And again, different than anybody else's and has some different stuff that's going on and usually gives some of these unique tokens. And he has quite a few unique tokens. He's got spells, so he's going to have some cards that are spells. So that's very thematic for a spellcaster, right? So he's got spell cards. He's got Crimson Bands, Premonition, and Deja Vu. So these are his special tokens. Here's his dice allotment. He's got 2 Mandela, 2 Tome, 1 Mantle, and 1 Amulet. He's a little bit different than other people. His dice allocation is a little bit different than some of the other ones. He has a 5 complexity, so that, that figures. He's got a lot of stuff going on there, especially with the spells. And then this is, it talks about those counters and tokens in his spells and how some little notes about how to play those. And then there's his component list. So that is Doctor Strange sideboard. Here is his combat point wheel. Here is his health dial. And again, you can start off whatever number you want if you want to do like a shorter game. But I think you should start at 50. I think it's a standard game. And if you get down to 0, you lose. If you get the other side down to 0, you win. Here's a turn order card. Here's the timing card. And then this is his deck of cards. He's got quite a big deck of cards here. And so let's get some of those spells. I think this is a spell here. So he's got some spells. That's unique to him. And nobody else has these cards. Or I don't even know if anybody has spells. I don't think so. So he's got a lot of different cards here. And then, does he have any upgrades? Huh. I don't see any upgrades. So what he has on his player board is basically what he has on his player board. I don't know. I don't see any upgrades in him. That's where almost everybody has at least a few upgrades. So it makes him, again, each one of these is very different in how they play. So that is what you get in Doctor Strange. So once I punch out his special tokens, there's a little tray in there for him, then I can play Doctor Strange, or I can take this and play against anybody else, Black Widow, or if I own any of the other ones, which I do, then I can play him against them. That is it. That is what you get in a box of Marvel Dice Throne Black Widow versus Doctor Strange on this Sci-Fi Fantasy Saturday. Thank you so much for stopping by. The best way I know that you stop by is leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Do you like this? Do you hate this? Do you're here for my wargaming content and like, what am I doing on Saturdays and Sundays? Well, that's fine too. Leave me a comment. I love to hear it. Anyway, thanks again. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.